Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the continuation of my series, Celebrity Natal Charts. And today we are going to be looking at Dakota Fanning's natal chart. um, and also, this will be an analysis of the Pisces Sun and Taurus rising. Okay, so Dakota Fanning, so the way that I've been choosing the Pisces for the series are people that are born under sun sign Pisces, who are celebrities. Like if I go into Google and I type in Pisces celebrities, like whoever pops up on the list, and has a rising sign or birth time information. There are a lot of people, like honorable mentions, I guess, honorable mention Pisces, who I would have liked to include in this series, but they don't have birth time information readily available online, which is one being like Method Man, and the other person's name I cannot think of any longer. But she's like an Olympic gymnast, and she has a rising Sagittarius, and I think she would have been a better choice than Elizabeth Taylor because she's also currently living and alive. But whatever. So she actually did have birth time information. It's just whatever. So those are honorable mentions, and this is about Dakota Fanning and Rising Taurus. So Miss Dakota Fanning, she has a Rising Taurus, Taurus first house. This means that her finances and how well she does financially is directly linked to her self-esteem. And that might seem kind of redundant, as you're probably like, isn't that everybody? And to a certain extent, but this is, I guess, a hyper focus or more intensified within her personality given her star chart, where you might have somebody who is satisfied with financial stability, but they may not be like a beauty queen, and that's okay for them. Whereas somebody who is, Miss Universe is like, who isn't worried or concerned about their looks. So it's that sort of thing. Whereas like someone who doesn't have money, they may not be able to use their finances as a place to fuel and feed their ego. Um, and in her second house of Gemini, so this says that her self esteem is directly linked to how much money she has. Second house in Gemini, she likes to talk about money. She likes to talk about money, likes to talk about business. It is her priority. So, like, I guess her greatest resource. So, she sort of would be really good in like negotiating contracts and business and boardroom type situations. And it's like the more she speaks, the more financial stability is created in her life. Which, because of her third house in Cancer, this might be a ability um, that she received from her mother, that she learned from her mother, or like one of her mother's sisters. Um, this also says that third house in Cancer says that she grew up in like in a loving, nurturing environment, which could be arguable even with herself or with other people's opinions, like growing up in Hollywood so young and everything. But I guess like maybe she was like very protected and safe, whereas other people may not have been. And her fourth house in Leo, right? So Leo fourth house talks about being in Hollywood, being in LA, Hawaii, places that are very Leo, maybe even Africa at some point. And she also has the moon in her fourth house as well, which is a very strong. It's a very strong place for Leo, very strong place for the moon. This talks about like balancing um, emotional energies, so not too happy, not too sad. Uh, Especially with a Pisces sun, sadness and depression are like their bread and butter. This talks about like moving a lot because of fame and attention and popularity, uh, every 2 weeks, every month, as the cycles of the moon changes. And in her fifth house, which I have established as the house of obstacles and sexy distractions, she has Virgo. So people born under the sign of Virgo are somewhat of like detours for her in her life, but probably a common theme being a Sun Pisces and rising Taurus. She also has Chiron there as well. So this Chiron in the fifth house, also with Virgo, talks to me about like her having the ability to help people overcome their obstacles with their ego and self-esteem, like making other people feel beautiful or attractive. Where is that something that she may not be able to heal within herself? Almost like doing makeup for another person, like, oh, you're using the wrong lip shade. You should use this lip shade. And then, she turns to the person like, oh, what do you think would look good on me? And they have no clue because they didn't even know it would look good on themselves. So it's a talent like that, like being the best photographer, and your group of friends, like everything you take pictures of looks like an editorial of Vogue, and then every time you get your picture taken, it's like you have red eye, and it's out of focus, Um, so that's like a kind of a thing, or an energy going on in her life, or an obstacle. Uh, and how she's supposed to overcome that obstacle is with her sixth house in Libra, which is like creating relationships with other people, business relationships, and working with people that actually care about her. Um, which, like I keep saying, like might sound redundant, but for Pisces, this is actually very difficult because we're sort of like isolationist and loners. So being able there to go out and make a friend that can get us a job or heal us from something that's very common, just from like having connection to another person, could be like a whole arc. Arc meaning adventure, or like journey or winding quest. And with her seventh house in Scorpio, so the third house, I say that's what we're always like speaking into existence. I say the 11th house is what our vibration is, and the seventh house is what we're attracting based on what we're speaking in our vibration. And looking at her natal chart with the seventh house in Scorpio, North Node in Scorpio, Pluto, Scorpio, and Jupiter as well, says that she's been very lucky in being able to attract a lot of achievements and accomplishments within her career, and is lucky enough to be a person that is has the ability to change, especially when it comes to terms of the people that she dates, or the jobs that she selects, or the people that she does business with. She has the luxury of options, where some people might see these options as overwhelming. She's like an intense and lucky enough person to navigate them correctly. And she has an eighth house in Sagittarius, which says to me that um, this is a person that very much is competitive and wants to achieve, um, which she could use things like, her own supernatural abilities, power of prayer, occult magic, astrology, tarot, divination, things like that, to assure her the prominence of her career, or she invest a lot in those things to be successful. And if she doesn't, maybe she should. And her ninth house, so the ninth house, like I said, or like I have been saying, is obviously the house of long distance travel and education, but I've also been seeing it as like the house of marriage and long term relationships. So even if you're a type of person that doesn't believe in marriage, energies, connecting with energies that are comparable to your ninth house would give you that like somewhat marriage feel. And for her, that is in Capricorn. Um, and the thing is too about like, you know, rising signs and things, of that nature. As I was talking, that there is a lot of celebrities whose birth information isn't fully available online, and there's nothing really guaranteeing that this birth information that I have for her is correct either. But it's a little bit like redundant, because it's like, okay, if you're a water sun and an earth rising, like Dakota Fanning is, sun sign astrology will tell you to get married to another Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio, but then you find out you have a Taurus rising, and it's like, oh, well, no, actually, uh, Capricorn would be the best match for you for marriage. But, if you are a Pisces sun with a Cancer rising or a Scorpio rising, it's like, okay, right back to it, just it being another water sign, just like your sun sign. But that is to say that, some people's lives are a little bit more complicated and a little bit more nuanced. Not better, not worse, just more complicated or more nuanced than others. And that's okay. And maybe she'll marry Capricorn one day. She also has Neptune and Uranus in the ninth house of Capricorn. So it might be somebody that she appears on television with or in movies with, where there's they have a boundless illusion. So maybe it's like a Netflix series where there's like no commercials. And in her 10th house of Aquarius, so this talks about like her friends and almost like her being part of like a rat pack type of group, elevating her to success. We have Mercury and Mars in her 10th house as well, which says that she's like very aggressive about her career, very money minded, very good at articulating what it is that she wants, with Mercury here as well. And even if it's just articulating it to the universe or to herself of what she wants to accomplish and where she wants to be in her career. And she has a lot of friends helping her get there. And I think that she also has a lot of like humanitarian good guy things that she wants to do, Captain Planet, save the Earth type stuff. Okay. that old story. And then in her 11th house, she has Pisces, which I didn't write this down in my notes, but her sun should be there too, because I believe she's a Pisces sun, as what's going on with this series. And she also has Saturn in her 11th house as well. So even though she works really well with her friends, and her friends have helped her get along very well in her career, which in this series, especially dealing with Pisces, we can see that a lot of Pisces actually have issues with their friends and their friends betraying them and not being so great for their career. She also kind of feels like imprisoned by them. So there might be like some like blackmail or extortion stuff that she has gone through or does go through with certain people, where she kind of feels like locked up at certain times, or unable to escape the prison that is herself, with this Saturn and Sun being here in her 11th house. Like she might like go and, I don't know, like might have like slumber parties or lock-ins or something, or has she like locks up all of her valuables when certain friends come over, which I think is pretty smart. And in her 12th house, so the 12th house I always say is like, the house of sadness, sorrow, asylum and misery and all that type of stuff. She has Aries. So maybe she does have like fits of rage at certain points of time where it kind of she goes and isolates herself, or it makes her feel isolated or unable to connect with other people. But then it's also like she has like a supernatural amount of anger in her, very angry about things from the past and how things went. But I think more so like angry about history, like the history of this world and this planet, and like social injustice and things of that nature. All things that she like wants to fight to change. And I also think that like her just to dial back into this Saturn being in her 11th house, that she also feels like her spiritual knowledge or her belief in spirituality and prayer have been holding her back, or she holds that back, or that side of her back, and it actually like secretly makes her angry. Which I think that a lot of Pisces go through. I think a lot of people go through that, where it's like, it could be something as simple like, oh, in my form of spirituality or religion, I don't believe in sitting on the floor. And then you get like entangled with the police and they force you to sit on the floor. Or, maybe like you're wearing a hijab or something and you just don't feel comfortable wearing it at school or your job any longer because of social climates or attitudes, or people leaving you out or making you feel mistreated. And that's that. Okay, so that's been my analysis of Dakota Fanning and the Pisces rising Taurus. I hope you enjoyed. That's what I see. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, telling your favorites Pisces who also has a Taurus rising to check out this video. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.